G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here. We're back for the second match of this Pauper League. We lost the Direl versus Bombage, and I think this hand is just keepable. The mana is a little bit awkward because we cannot turn one Utopia Sprawl currently without drawing a forest. Ice Tunnel looks like maybe a Dimir control here. We'll just go ahead and plains and pass, and then we'll end step the Ash Barrens. Alright, so opponent with a preordain here. One top, one bottom, and another Ice Tunnel. Alright, so we'll go ahead and cycle this one, get our forest, and find another Ash Barrens off the top. Alrighty. Alright, so it seems like as decent spot as any to either Bogle, or we could potentially Silhana Ledgewalker here, which is an option. I think I like Silhana. I don't really like Bogle Hot Up Ash Barrens. It's just not quite using our mana efficiently enough for the stage of the game we're at. Silhana Ledgewalker is probably our strongest creature, possibly our most vulnerable at times. Opponent holding up some mana now. Alright, so we'll kick things off by land cycling here. I find Rancor not a bad draw. Play our forest, play Utopia Sprawl. All that is resolving. We'll go ahead for white mana now. Throw down our Ethereal Armor. Alright, so this one swiftly meets a counterspell. Let's go ahead and play a second creature to protect ourselves from Chainer's Edict at this point. Attacking for one, and hopefully we can get a little bit more gas off the top of our library next turn, dodging important counter magic from our opponent. We see Gomag Angler and Brainstorm into the graveyard of a Mental Note, another Mental Note, Milling Mental Note, and Spell Pierce. There is Tolarian Terror from our opponent. Alright, well, our opponent's creatures don't have flying, but they're pretty chunky and a little bit behind. If any card can help us out in this tight spot, though, it is probably Armadillo Cloak, and that's a pretty good find for us. I guess this can go on green because we already have two sources of white up this turn. We'll go ahead, Rancor here. Armadillo Cloak here. A little bit of an attack. Alright. So we got all that past our opponent's counter magic, which is pretty fortunate. Armadillo Cloak, great top deck. Keep the good stuff coming. Thought Scour from our opponent. Their graveyard's getting a little bit full. Let's expand it. Alright, now attacking in. We don't want to block and get blown out by Chainer's Edict, so we'll take the damage. We're getting 5 back next turn anyway. Looks like a Gomag. Alright, there's Gomag Angler. Hopefully like an Armadillo Cloak, an Ethereal Armor, something like that. That is neither. Well, we have no first strike, and we're not really in a position to block, pardon me. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and crack on in. Taking 15 damage next turn. That'll put us down to 5. So like a damaging effect off of potentially winning next turn. Armadillo Cloak or Ethereal Armor will get us there. Assuming we get past the counter magic. I don't think we have to block at this point. We can still hold up these creatures. Maybe we can throw one away to play around like Unexpected Fangs. It's playing into maybe like double Chainer's Edict though. Just be like a little cautious. Another land from our opponent. Hopefully that's all they've got. Alright, well, things become slightly more awkward. If we attack here, we go up to 10. We block 1. Alright, so we have to block 2 and hope our opponent doesn't have anything. Not really where we want to be. Oh wow, our opponent concedes, so it looks like they just bricked on the Chainer's Edict, and the plan of double block plus attack for lethal next turn actually got us there. That's pretty remarkable. Alright, so going on to sideboarding here, we have a recent tournament finish for our opponent. All the way back in November last year, so about month and a half, 2 months ago there. We can see they run 2 Chainer's Edict main deck, 1 in the sideboard. Numbers are subject to changing over time. Sideboard hate of extra Chainer's Edict, extra Suffocating Fumes, and extra Counter Magic. Obviously, like Snuff Outs can come out for a lot of that stuff because it doesn't really affect us. Also, a Suffocating Fumes main deck and 2 Unexpected Fangs to buff their creatures up instant speed. So in this matchup, we're definitely going to want Young Wolf. I think given the amount of counter magic, we could consider 1 to 2 Crucifix's Insight. I think 1 efficiency swapped for Ancestral Mask is fine. So Test and Training replaces itself, which is kind of nice. Let's like minus Rancor here. It doesn't add toughness for Suffocating Fumes. It adds a bit more power than Test and Training, but Test and Training is going to win the attrition into all their counter magic that they're going to be packing in against us. Cuts at this point maybe a little bit harder. Maybe 1 to 2 Lotus Petals. Let's take out 1 Lotus Petal and we'll only bring in 1 Crucifix's Insight. So the boarding looks like that. Alright, so our opponent is keeping 7 cards here. We see this hand which is potentially keepable. Positives are we have like lots of creatures, we have Seal Hunter Ledgewalker, and we saw how powerful that evasion was in the previous match. Downside is aura-wise we don't have too much going on. We do have access to both our colors. It's a little bit awkward. I think off the basis of things, this is probably a keep, but it's not the strongest of keeps. If one of these like Bogles here was an Ethereal Armor, it would probably be pretty good, or a Cartouche of Solidarity. Opponent with Ice Tunnel, and I mean, there's option to lead on Young Wolf here. That could get us into an awkward spot with our auras later on. Let's go ahead, keep it simple, resolve a creature. Alright, so opponent untaps into Preordain now. And 1 top, 1 bottom, a Contaminated Aquifer there, 6 in hand. We had to get past Counter Magic now this turn. Unfortunately, this Ash Barrens is a little bit awkward. I think we have to spend the turn land cycling. It leaves us vulnerable to Chainer's Edict for a turn. We'll just like Sentinel's Eyes attack. Yes, there's also an option to get Ethereal Armor past Counter Magic. So Sentinel's Eyes is better if they have Chainer's Edict in hand. Ethereal Armor is better if they don't have Chainer's Edict in hand, and get that past Counterspell. So I might veer towards the upside and play out the Ethereal Armor here. Yeah, let's go slightly greedy. Alright, opponent's on 18. We are currently on 20. Preordain. And both those cards to the top this time. Looks like they're holding up a Counterspell. I guess our next creature is going to get countered. Let's Sentinel's Eyes, see how our opponent responds. That one does resolve. Now we'll just go ahead and start our attacks. I'm feeling like they're holding up Counterspell here, and maybe they got Chainer's Edict next turn. I don't hate playing the Scout out here. We probably want to see like 1 more land source and then no more land sources. So this does get countered. I'm intentionally playing the Scout out here over the Young Wolf because I value the Young Wolf a little bit more on the board reset. Brainstorm from our opponent now. And our opponent actually misses a land drop and then just passes the turn to us. So that's a little bit interesting there. We'll Lotus Petal. I think this is just going to resolve pretty much for free. Now we'll Bogle, see if there's a response to this one. That resolves. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Attack for 4. Opponent's not applying any pressure just yet to us. There's potential for them to untap and like... they can't Arms of Hater plus... Yeah, I think we're fine going for the Young Wolf here. They can't Arms of Hater plus Chainer's Edict. There's potential for like double Chainer's Edict. Alright, so Counterspell there from our opponent. Maybe we did that slightly in the wrong order. Third Preordain of the game for our opponent. 1 top, 1 bottom. Tolarian Terror entering the battlefield now. Second Tolarian Terror doing the same. Alright, so now we have like a Test and Training. Seems pretty okay to me. Like one toughness short of where we want to be, really. So like a white aura off the top would be incredible. It's not a white aura. If we attack, we do lose out slightly, so we have to wait one more turn. So blocking, we can block into one Unexpected Fangs. Currently they're tapping for Brainstorm in their first main. So realistically, we can block one Tolarian Terror this turn. They could just like pass for tempo with counter magic up. Currently we've already seen 2 counter spells, potential for Spell Pierce as well. And we find this one. Not an amazing draw. Think we just play out the Ledgewalker, see what kind of counter magic they have. Alright, so Haunted from the first game, their 3rd copy of Counterspell. Countering that one, I prefer to keep the Crufix's Insight uncountered. So we'll just pass back for an extra turn. Alright, opponent with Archaeologists, and I'm pretty sure they have like indestructible lands here. Maybe not. Oh, this is one that mills, never mind. Alright, so we see Thorn and another Archaeologist to the graveyard. Alright, that seems fine by me. Hopefully we draw a good aura they counter so then we can untap into, or so then we can Crufix's Insight immediately after. Alright, so no extra aura. We do get to play around Spell Pierce here, but not the 4th counter spell. Alright, of all the dead draws, that was a pretty dead draw. At least we put all this garbage on the bottom of our library. We'll really awkwardly enchant the planes here to try and cantrip another aura. There's a Spell Pierce from our opponent though. Maybe we should have waited on that. I guess that's a misplay. With only 1 counterspell specifically in the deck. Yeah, I think that was a misplay. And we missed the point of power and toughness that Ethereal Armor would have provided. Mental note from our opponent. Oh, we see Unexpected Fangs to the graveyard, so that's one of their 2 copies gone. Another mental note, counterspell, and Contaminated Aquifer, so now it's only Spell Pierce we're playing around. It's all 4 copies of counterspell in the grave. And he draws a live draw. Another mental note. Suffocating Fumes to the bin, happy to see that. Chainer's Edict, alright, well that starts the Horrible Terror. Cartouche would be a good draw. Not Cartouche, I mean, another Chainer's Edict in hand and they probably win the match, but we'll force them to have it. Alright, an opponent blocks with only the Archaeologist. Yeah, this kind of reeks of Chainer's Edict. Alright, there it is. We would have seen 1 card deeper if we hadn't punted the Abundant Growth. I guess we'll see what our next draw is and if that would have made a difference. Now, Unexpected Fangs on Tolarian Terror. Opponent's hacking in. Another Abundant Growth from us. So we'll go here. See what we find. Oh, damn. So we would have like Abundant Growth into... not into land, into... No, Abundant Growth into Armadillo Cloak. Alright, so I think we punted that one slightly. Let's go to the next match. I don't think there's too much to change post board. I like the Crufix's Insight. Probably don't need to get too greedy on it. Alright, so here we see a turn 2 creature with no Edict protection whatsoever. Decent mana, but not good into what we're versing. Sound looks a lot better. We'll keep. I think we ditch Armadillo Cloak because Crufix's Insight's worth more cards. We're going to have to draw some auras early so they use their counter magic and we can resolve this though. I think we want to keep double creature, double mana, etc. So we're like this. Opponent keeping 7 in hand for a mental note this turn. Alright, so we get like a decent turn of setup here. We'll actually go this on green because if we have the Abundant Growth and this lets us use our mana effectively. We find a Cartouche, pretty good protection. Alright, so we can attack on in. When it plays up Island, straight into Preordained, so no counterspell, but they do have Spell Pierce that they're representing potentially. Find another Abundant Growth. Alright, so we'll kick it off by Cartouche over here. Now we'll abundant growth on this one. If this gets countered, that's fine. All right, that replaces itself. All right, so we burn a mana, which isn't the end of the world. Attack for 3, which is slightly less than what we want to be attacking for, but we'll take it. All right, mental note, end step, and we see Island Thought Scour to the grave. Another island for our opponent and passing to us, and we find another scout. Okay. Well, you know what? That's we've only got 3 mana in total, right? Because if we add white there, yeah, it's 3 mana in total. This is a little bit awkward. Is it horrible that I don't want to play anything? Maybe like a creature post-combat. It's weak into Suffocating Fumes. I think we're supposed to attack here, just clock the 4 damage, make our opponent burn a bit of their mana and a bit of their tempo. I know they can have like an instant spell effect that they can play. So Suffocating Fumes, yeah. All right. So that's fine. This one probably gets Diabolic Edict away or Chain's Edict away. We then have the 1 in hand to reset on. And now we have to fog like another one of these effects. Preordained, 2 cards to the bottom and 6 in hand. Find a cartouche. I mean, that's pretty good rebuild. So white here. This there. This there. And we potentially can put this on the warrior token, which is good into one of their other 1 or 2 copies of Suffocating Fumes. I think overall it's probably a little bit weaker though, because 1 Chain's Edict and suddenly our board looks a lot worse. Now our opponent plays out Tolarian Terror and Gurmag Angler as well. Interesting. We're gonna get to play this one unchecked. Maybe a land source. We can't like land into trample though, which sucks. Abundant growth is not super what we're looking for. Utopia Sprawl would have been better, to be honest. Alright, we'll go ahead and get some value happening. Okay, we will not get any kind of value happening. Yikes. Attack for 7. I guess our opponent takes this. Yep, so we put them all the way down to 5. If we can resolve a trample effect next turn, that would be nice. Alright, attacking in with Gurmag Angler, and I don't see any need to throw away our warrior token. Unexpected Fangs, buffing it up. Okay. So playing around Spell Pierce at this point. Opponent's still operating off 3 mana, much like we are. Alright, so this can go double green. Can go over here for white. I guess we play the Ash Barrens and then Abundant Growth on the Ash Barrens. Alright, Cetessan Training please. Not Cetessan Training. Alright, so we do still have like a pretty big attack here. I can't attack with the warrior token because that makes us vulnerable to Chain's Edict next turn. Alright, opponent is on to a Brainstorm. Opponent makes their 4th land drop. Plenty of action in hand. Attacking with both guys. I guess this means they have like a 3rd guy to play out as a blocker. Plus potentially counter magic to prevent the trample. We're all the way down to 3. That's not very good for us. Interestingly enough, that Crufix's Insight, if we kept the Ancestral Mask in hand, Armadillo Cloak in hand, we would have had Life Gain Trample instead of like Abundant Growth and digging a few dead cards away. So we would have been better positioned in my opinion. Oh, they play Archaeologist, wow. And the Gurmag? Okay, that might be a little too much. I think it's just Armadillo Cloak we're drawing to now. It's not an Armadillo Cloak. Block, block, block. Take 1 damage wide. Yeah, I don't like this. We're on blocking duty now. Dead to Chain's Edict pre or post combat. Dead to Suffocating Fumes. We can take out this one and deny the life gain, which is kind of impressive. We'll be taking 6 there, no life gain on our creature, so we're forced into this. So all the way down to 2. There's opponent playing another creature here. Maybe another Tolarian Terror. Okay, mental note with Suffocating Fumes, Tolarian Terror to the grave. And I guess they were just fueling to resolve this Tolarian Terror. Trample, please. Not trample. Alright, well, no matter what we do, we are pretty much dead. So we'll go through the motions and attack. I feel we played that one like mostly as best as we could. Probably the pinnacle decision of match 3 was that Krufix Sin's Insight mulligan decision that we made instead of the Armadillo Cloak. I don't think it's the worst decision into the value our opponent had, but yeah, I guess we did bottom a powerful card and got punished for it. So take that as you will. There's a decision to be made, and in this case we made the wrong one. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video or found it informative. If you did, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.